Welcome to the OutThere Colorado Podcast. Once again, I'm Spencer here with Seth.
Accounted for.
And we've got Tim over there on the sound and the video for today. And once again, many interesting Colorado-themed topics to discuss.
For sure.
Yeah, just to kind of dive into it, we always start with our weekend recap. And it's been a hot minute since, I guess it's been a week since our last episode, but it's been an active week, you know. Both of us had plenty of things that we did. And I'm going to start with an update that I think Seth is going to be interested in. That comes from my Wednesday night after we recorded the last show.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Urban Animal and found out that Doki Doki, the food truck,
rings a bell.
Yeah, they serve up like kind of like curries and
okay.
So very good food truck in Colorado Springs. Highly recommend it. But apparently now they're on like kind of a residency there, and they'll be there from Tuesday to Saturday, I think.
So all the more reason to go to Urban Animal is what you're saying, huh?
Yeah,
I've
definitely.
never had Doki Doki.
I mean, I love the beer, and I would go there for the food alone. I think it's like kind of like Japanese style. It's probably the best way to describe it. But they have like their little poutine. It's very good. They have.
Looking it up.
We had this like poutine topped with this like chicken katsu. Deep fried chicken, amazing. But yeah, so that's something maybe the Colorado Springs folks will want to know. Doki Doki's up there with my favorite food trucks in the city. So
good to know. And so they just got a spot now at Urban Animal.
Yeah,
huh?
they were often at Fossil is where I would have them. But yeah, now they're just out there in the back and
chicken
on a
katsu curry bowl. Yeah, I see
very,
the poutine.
Very good stuff. So yeah. Comes with a strong recommendation from me. But
noted. You took a recommendation of mine over the weekend too, right?
We did, yeah. So for Friday night date night, my girlfriend came to this conclusion by herself. I had not really talked to her about this spot, but you've heard Seth mention it.
She told me what was going down. I kept a secret from you.
Well, yeah, because I saw Seth in the wild. I guess we got to backtrack a day.
That's right.
Saw Seth in the wild on Thursday at Goat Patch.
Yeah, he saw my true wild self.
The final ride of the season for the Up and Down a Pedal Party.
Met my puppy for the first time.
Met his puppy for the first time. But yeah, the place that we went on Friday for date night, and everyone, we've talked about it before, but basically I either pick a spot on one Friday, she picks a spot the next Friday, we surprise each other. It's supposed to be a spot neither of us have been to before, trying a new place in the city essentially. Ended up at Atmosphere, which Seth has talked about quite a bit.
Super tasty, yeah.
Very good. They have a really good happy hour too. I don't know if you've been there for happy hour, but it's like we had like these little like bacon bits, which are literally just like chunks of like
hunks kind of.
Yeah, like hunks of pork belly.
Yep.
Deep fried. That was very good.
I think I have had that.
Or maybe not deep fried. However they're cooked, but very good. We had a goat cheese appetizer where it's like this little pesto goat cheese.
Jar thing?
Yeah, tomato
that's
jam.
Super good. I always get that.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
All around. I had a great time.
We can say filling weekend.
They had the Noki. They had live music playing. That was nice.
Oh yeah, I've been there for that.
So that was good. Yeah. Then Saturday, went out on a motorcycle ride, a very scenic motorcycle ride with girlfriend's stepdad. So we knew we would be kind of encountering leaf peepers, so to speak. And I don't know if you heard about everything that went down over the weekend with the whole leaf.
Georgetown.
Yeah. So we got on the road out of Colorado Springs, headed up to Woodland Park, bit of traffic, kind of worked our way around to Bucksnort Saloon. Have you ever been there?
I'm glad you mentioned this. I want to go there.
Yeah, so Bucksnort Saloon.
Recently revived, right?
Recently revived. I think they had a fire or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but it was closed there temporarily. Out there in Pine, Colorado.
Right.
Kind of off the beaten track, though. You got to you're not just right on Pine's Main Street. You got to go up into the mountains a bit. Very scenic area. Absolutely beautiful.
Is it open year round?
I think it's.
Do you know?
I think it closes in the winter. It would make sense for it to close in the winter. Yeah. Just because the road there is steep.
I was thinking so.
A little bit of gravel portion, and but either way, it's about maybe like a mile or 2 miles off that main stretch.
Yeah.
Very cool. They have all the dollar bills that people have stapled to the ceiling.
I've seen the photos.
Long known as one of those popular motorcycle stops for people touring through the Colorado mountains. It was funny though, because when we got in there, no one's in there, or just like your normal local crowd was in there.
Yeah,
tables empty, for the most part. And we got in there right around lunchtime. Sure enough, within 20 minutes, I would guess a few dozen millennials just like start pouring in. So I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, this spot has finally been discovered by the Denver crowd, like the young Denver crowd.
It's definitely gotten out on Instagram, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean,
it's gotten on the interwebs.
It is like classic, like dive bar vibe, very Wild Westy in a sense, you know. But yeah, we got back on the road, ended up hitting Craft Mountain Brewery in, where was that at? I don't even remember the town that was in, to be honest. But that was good. Bailey, yeah.
Yep.
That was good.
Bailey. Never heard of that.
And then after that, so we were expecting the traffic to kind of die off as we like pass Ganella Pass. Obviously, that's like a huge fall colors spot that people go to. They've had all the situations about or all the announcements about how they'll be enforcing illegal parking, etc. Thought the traffic would die off. It did not die off. We kept kind of going toward Kenosha Pass there, and it was like stop and go for miles.
Goodness.
And as Seth made a reference a couple minutes ago, some of those stops, I think Georgetown, Idaho Springs, maybe, don't quote me on that either, but some of those stops were stopping people from entering the town off of I-70 because there were so many people in that kind of that corridor of Colorado just looking for leaves. So pretty wild situation. But man, the colors on Kenosha Pass, awesome. Like it was last weekend was the perfect weekend to be up there. Huh? There were probably, I mean, I would imagine thousands of people stopped by that little summit area just on Saturday alone. Yeah. We were up there just surrounded by hundreds of people, stop and go. But we're on the back of motorcycles. So we got the fresh air and got all the aspens around. I didn't realize how many aspens were up on Kenosha Pass.
Kenosha, yeah. It's been a long time since I've been up on Kenosha.
Yeah, man, all those hillsides just like golden. Like I get it now because you always hear Kenosha pop up as like a top spot for fall colors in Colorado.
Boy, and I can't help but think it's even more popular with everything going on Guanella right now.
Yeah,
a lot of the front rangers thinking better do Kenosha.
Yeah, probably. And then you kind of get dropped off into that Park County area. We took a back road that I'm not going to reveal because it was extremely uncrowded. But it went by some like not old ranching ruins, and then just kind of opened up into this beautiful, beautiful craggy area, just also with fall colors, and it was great. It was a wonderful ride.
Glad to hear it, man.
Got safely back to Rudy's in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, it always ends at Rudy's for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it always starts and ends. It's a good meetup spot. You get your gas there.
Get your barbecue.
Roll out, get your barbecue.
You fill up in more ways than one there, huh?
For sure. But you had an even more active weekend.
Fun weekend, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, and I was gonna say, like, we can kind of unpack some of this stuff later, but if you want to go into detail on some of them, but yeah, finally got out with the wife on a Southwest getaway toward Durango. Like I maybe mentioned last week, part of the state I haven't spent too much time around Durango. It seems like I'm always flying through Durango for whatever reason, but yeah, we got up Friday and made our way into Pagosa Springs. Did an overnight in Pagosa Springs.
What did you do there?
We did the hot springs, the springs resort there where I've never soaked. That
Riverside.
Was wonderful. Yep, Riverside. So a lot of people familiar. Probably the most famous place to soak in Pagosa Springs, the namesake of the town there for the springs. And yeah, kind of you're on like this terrace overlooking the San Juan River there, with like 20 pools spread across. Recently expanded to, I think like another 26 soaking options. Big expansion. Maybe people heard about it. I think we've talked about it on this show.
Yeah, for sure.
We went with just kind of the lower level of day pass and soaked on 20 pools there, and just soaked up the afternoon.
You see the Mother Spring, said to be the deepest.
Took her to the well of the Mother Spring. Yep, for sure.
1,200 feet deep or so.
Yep.
Said to be the deepest in the world.
Right. Yep. Geothermal spring. Yeah. That feeds the pools there. So yeah, that was super cool. I guess now I was thinking about it, I've soaked at, we were talking about it, like, we've done Mount Princeton hot springs for sure. We've done Valley View hot springs in the San Luis Valley, which access there has changed over the years. People got to look into that, but
clothing optional.
That still remains my top. Yeah. The Valley View is just a kind of a mystical place to soak, like very natural, and just overlooking the valley, very unique. But Ouray hot springs we've soaked at, But yeah, we were thinking Springs Resort ranks right up there for just nice places to dip into some hot springs, man.
Yeah,
there's cool ones. There's like cold ones, plunges right around the river.
That's
cool.
So
that was a cool way of doing that too, for sure.
Yeah, that was the first hot spring that I visited in Colorado. I didn't even live here at the time. This would have been, I don't even know, like 16, 17 years ago.
Oh, was that right?
But it was awesome. Yeah, I remember that was part of the reason I fell in love with Colorado was because of hot springs.
Is that right? Yeah,
for sure.
Cool, man. Shout out. We stayed. We just needed a quick little stop. We needed a quick little overnight place to lay our heads, and we went for a shout out to Motel Soco. If you're looking for just a quick little spot to hit for an overnight, we felt like we fell into a cool little local secret almost for being right off the highway.
Yeah, good views too. It looks like
super cool spot, man. Just kind of this roadside looking motel. But all renovated inside and really quirky and funky kind of, leaning into a hippie kind of vibe there. And the real highlight was right in the parking lot there's this bar and restaurant. And they do live music. There was music going on, guy playing guitar, and locals were just hanging out at this bar. One of those rare motels where locals hang out, right?
El Camino Lounge and Grill.
There you go,
yeah.
El Camino Lounge and Grill. And dude, we pulled up right at happy hour, which I think was like 4 to 5, and we each got a couple beers after a long day on the road, and at the hot springs, got a couple beers each, and shared a big thing of onion rings, and along with the happy hour discount and the 15% off for staying there.
Oh,
we
dang.
paid like $17 for all that.
That's wild.
It
says happy hour on their website. Says half off apps and taps.
Yeah, that's it.
So
it was sweet, man.
Man, that
was
sounds
a cool little spot.
It's like my type of spot.
So shout out to that little spot if you just need a place to lay your head.
Hey, the website also says, in quotes, the best motel ever. So
there you go. Yeah. Big words.
Lives up to the hype.
It was cool, man. It was, and very affordable,
Cool.
Just needed the night there before making our way into Durango. Did a couple nights in Durango. Got to Mesa Verde finally.
Ooh.
We can talk more about Mesa Verde if you want to.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk about both those things.
Yeah. And then so Mesa Verde, and then I was going to talk more about James Ranch. If people aren't familiar with James Ranch. One of the best burgers I've had, and absolutely the best place to have a burger.
What type of burger are we talking?
So it's all the story on James Ranch. A couple seeking open land and a place in the country to raise a family. They make their way to Durango and settle on land that they would steadily expand along with their family over the decades to come, all culminating in this restaurant now outside Durango. Gosh, it's maybe like 20 minutes outside Durango. And you're right there on the edge of the ranch, looking out at the cattle, looking out at the trout ponds, looking out at the chickens running around. There's a goat just walking by your picnic tables where you're eating. You walk up and you order your food and hang out on like picnic tables and on the patio and looking out to this gorgeous view of the ranch overlooked by the mountains there. And everything raised there on that property by this family, very proud of what they call regenerative. You want to help me out there?
Regenerative?
It's been a long day for me.
Regenerative.
Regenerating fields, right? So essentially moving animals across this landscape in a way that lets the nature grow healthy again. And what they say, you can taste the difference from what you eat. Everything that's grown there. Cheese that's made there. Produce that's raised there. Cattle, obviously, eating the grass there. So just a really unique dining experience.
Could you taste the difference?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. It was really good, man.
4.7 stars on Google.
Another. That's where I live. So yeah, I got pictures. Hopefully, we can throw them up in the video here, showing how scrumptious it is. My wife had to get we met someone at the hot springs who said you got to get the beet salad over there. So she got the beet salad, and it was good. And yeah, super tasty. Like I said, one of the best burgers I've had in this state. In absolutely the best place to eat a burger. Put it that way.
Dang. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a neat little story there.
What else you do in Durango?
So Mesa Verde, right? I'd never been to Mesa Verde. I wasn't aware, obviously, and I think everyone listening is aware of the cliff dwellings there, the main calling cards to go, right? These places that were built by ancestral Puebloan people some 800 years ago, still very much intact, that you can walk around on guided tours. Got to have a reservation to go on these guided tours. So I was very much aware of those sites, but I want to go back because there's so much else to see and do across that landscape.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that like the cliff dwellings are talked about, but there's just so much else that people can explore.
And I wish I could talk more on what all else there is to do, because I was very much interested in the cliff dwellings. Obviously, that's what we did with the time that we had.
And you had a ranger guiding you.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool.
Yep, to Cliff Palace, which is regarded as North America's largest cliff dwelling.
Yeah.
In North America. And you get to it. People may not realize this. You know, you get to the visitor center right off the road there outside Mancus, right? But then you got to drive like more than a half hour.
Oh, no way.
It's funny. Yeah, you got to drive to like the top, man. And then it's a beautiful drive there again. I mean, the drives there are just stunning.
Fall colors too, I would imagine.
Low-lying oak, not oak. I mean, not aspen.
Okay.
That landscape's not so much aspen tree, but yeah, you saw some mahogany and oak for sure changing. But yeah, like I'm at and it's nice nowadays with all these reservations, you know, you get this information and what to know. And one of those things I think it said like allow 75 minutes to drive. And I was like, really? That long?
Dang.
And I came in here and asked our photo editor, Christian Murdoch, you know, who'd been up there. And I was like, you really got to drive 75 minutes? And he's like, no, it's like a half hour, you know. So I kind of had that in my mind, you know. I wanted to hang out at the visitor center with the time we got in there. And I overheard this ranger chatting, and I kind of get in there and I say, yeah, it was like 10:15. And I was like, our tour is at 11:30. And the ranger was like, you're late. You got to go. You got to go now. And I'm like all panicked, you know, like, oh, man. Anyway, it took me like a half hour to get up there. You know?
There we go.
But so people know, you might need longer because there's a lot of places to stop and things to see for sure.
Depends on driving styles, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You seem like a safe driver.
I
don't
am.
know.
I was gonna say, like, dude, in high school they called me Grandpa, right?
Yeah,
and
there we go.
And now everyone's gonna call me Grandpa, and it's because I wore slippers like to high school because I was an idiot.
Huh?
And
very cool. Like,
and I drove slow. That's my point. I'm a slow driver.
Back when I was in high school, everyone was wearing those Birkenstocks, which are basically slippers.
Those are back now.
Yeah, are they back? There we go.
Are you talking about like those? Yeah.
Yeah, the slide on.
Yeah. Those are very much back.
Yeah, that was
anyway, I was very captivated by Mesa Verde. You know, I'd been to, interestingly, I bet there's not too many people who can say they've been to the Ute Tribal Park, overseen by the Ute Mountain Ute people on the other side of Mesa Verde, which is another larger mosaic of cliff dwellings and ancient sites. And that is very, very limited access. And I think it changes based on kind of how the tribe handles it every season. Much more rugged, like I said, much more limited. But I was very fortunate to get that tour some years ago.
Wow.
So I was kind of familiar with, you know, the history and the people and the story there. But I guess I was reminded on this tour that there's this popular narrative about, and it was the question I kept hearing at the top, you know, before the tour. Like people were like, why'd they go? Where'd they go? Right. And there's some archaeological talk about that. You know, there's points about maybe drought, environmental factors that maybe were leading to social upheaval, but very much like the indigenous message, the people descended from these people who built this place again some 800 years ago, is, you know, they never left. You know, this was a people who migrated across the landscape. This was one place they stopped, and then they continued on. And again, like the message of those people are that maybe physically they continued on, but this is still very much a place where they exist, and the people who made it still live on in these communities across the Four Corners region. You know, it seemed like an important message to convey, you know,
for sure. Yeah.
Rather than this idea, you know, I think it's too bad that there's this idea that indigenous people aren't here or are elsewhere, but they're very much here, right? And when you're looking at a place like the cliff dwellings, it looks abandoned, right? But I don't think that's the way of looking at it, you know. Like, I think the way of looking at it is to know that, you know, there's a presence there and there's a lesson there. So that was kind of my takeaway, you know, from the place.
And For reference, too, the cliff dwellings, looking it up right now so I get it right, but occupied in like the 1190s, it says.
Yeah, I think like the community was thriving through the 1200s.
Yeah, for about 100 years there. Yeah. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, like 800 years, like from, that end of 1100s through, even before then. Getting my math all mixed up. But they very much thrived through the 1200s. Like they say across that region, there was, at its height, might have been like 40,000 people, which is way more people than lives in that region today.
Oh, you know? That's wild.
To give an idea of just it's easy to understand how these people were able to hunt, were able to farm, and indeed were able to build these shelters in a very meticulous, ingenious way and grow that population to that extent, and continue to settle communities beyond, pueblos and tribes that call communities homes across the Four Corners region, all descended from these people. So there's a lot of great lessons.
That's impressive stuff.
Yeah.
Impressive stuff. I need to add it to my list.
Part
it's
of
a place
me
I've
hates,
never been
to. Part of me hates like telling that story because that story should be told from indigenous people, and there's a lot more effort at the national park for that to happen. They're bringing in more of those people across these communities to tell that story, as it should be. Yeah. So go and listen to them. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. I think also, so we had the government shut down, right? Some of these national parks are a little bit impacted by that. I think Mesa Verde, I was seeing online just from Facebook comments. I have not reached out to them yet on this, but I think it's still open. Okay. But some of those tours are limited because staffing isn't in its full capacity. So heads up to people that might be going there in the next few days.
Good to know. But good point. Yeah. And again, I think the tour season just goes through October 19th.
Yeah, it is. It is a limited season there.
Yeah.
But apparently, there's a lot to do in the winter as well at Mesa Verde. Like you get like the cross country skiing and the snowshoeing, and you get to explore all that other area. Yeah. Maybe with a little bit more mild winter conditions.
Right.
Perhaps
I was going to say when it's not as crazy hot. Yeah. This seems like a great time to go. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So what else do you do?
Those are definitely the highlights.
You hit the hot springs in Durango?
No, we didn't, but I've heard a lot about that too.
Yeah. I've been wanting to go down there just for those alone. They look sweet.
They put a lot of investment in that.
Yeah.
And then came up and down Wolf Creek Pass. Colors were going there. I bet as I talk now, they're really booming in that part of the state.
Yeah, it always kind of starts in the northern part of the state, and then as October gets underway, that's when you tend to see them pop up further south.
Aforementioned photo editor Christian Murdoch was zooming around the San Juans, taking fall colors, and he took some killer shots.
Nice.
People got to come to Gazette.com to see some of his photos. He's putting up a gallery this weekend.
Nice.
Stellar. Yeah.
We'll try to get some of those photos in the video as well,
including Ohio Pass, like off Kebler.
Yeah,
everyone talks Kebler Pass, but maybe not so much Ohio Pass.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that one.
Good photos off that.
Oh wow, yeah. Photos look amazing near Gunnison and Crested Butte.
Yeah. There's this formation called the Castles.
The photos
aptly
of that are
called
wild.
The Castles. Yeah.
It literally looks like a giant fortress on the hillside. Essentially, That's those photos are awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be looking forward to Christians. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Well, here we can go ahead and dive into some of these things we're thinking about talking about today. I always get to see Seth's list ahead of time too. He never knows what I'm going to bring up, so I like to catch him off guard.
Yeah, I like it that way, man.
So came in
surprise.
Came in today after the long, or felt like a long weekend. I guess your normal weekend, but came in today, and I guess this is Wednesday. I don't even know what day of the week it is at this point. But I was very surprised to see a email from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation about how they are reviewing the case of Hunter S. Thompson's death.
Oh, I came by that.
Yeah, so famed writer known for books like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and Hell's Angels. Hunter S. Thompson he lived a large portion of his life in Colorado, in that Woody Creek area in Pitkin County. Ran for sheriff in Pitkin County unsuccessfully. I think it was back in 1970. But either way, back in 2005, he died by a gunshot wound to his head.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, it was concluded that this was self-inflicted and that it was suicide. As said by the Pickens County Sheriff, there's no new evidence that could point to any sort of foul play. But the quote from him is that they're committed to answering any lingering questions surrounding the case. So interesting stuff. Apparently, the case is going to be reviewed at the suggestion of Thompson's widow. Her name is Anita. So, and more so just to provide an independent perspective on the investigation is the phrasing they're using. So, interesting stuff.
Yeah, that's something to follow, huh?
Yeah, there were, and there have been, as is the case with many celebrity deaths, conspiracy theories around his death. Apparently, and this is according to a publication called The Morbid Library. But there was an interview that Thompson had with a radio station around the time of his death that hinted that he might be at risk due to his opinions of the government and politics. A lot of that's been disregarded. Hunter S. Thompson, also known to have struggled with drinking, drug abuse, and various mental health concerns throughout his life. Another claim, and again, a very debated claim, is that there was no spent cartridge in his gun after his death, potentially saying or pointing to someone else shooting Thompson. Either way, this case is going to be under review. So,
wow.
And I can't stress enough too how like whenever you start looking into some of those conspiracy theories nowadays around his death, pretty much all of them are disregarded. The general consensus is that signs do seem to point to a suicide. But yeah, either way, something to follow. 20 years after his death, this case is being looked at again. So, something there. But yeah.
I've driven by the old house up there.
Yeah, he was also. You've been to what is it, Woody Creek Tavern?
Yeah,
one of his favorite spots in the Woody Creek area, known for his ridiculous orders. We could say,
orders.
crazy orders. But
a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah, a little bit of this and that. You can still get some of those menu items as well, I think. So
yeah.
Apparently, Woody Creek Tavern still a great place to go.
Definitely a legend in Colorado that takes a little twist here. It sounds like.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, so that was something that I wanted to bring up just because I found it so shocking to get that headline from an official press release on the matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I want to get into something that it came up a couple weeks ago. There was a snowboarder that was rescued kind of mid-September on a glacier, a so-called glacier in Colorado. Name of that glacier, in quotes, is skipping my mind right now. But I'll try to find it here in a second.
I came by this one.
Yeah, so basically it happened, I think it was like between Boulder and Grand County.
Skyscraper?
Skyscraper.
I'd never heard of that.
Glacier. In the Rollins Pass area, essentially, someone seeking that, fall snow. I think he was 25, 27 years old. Took a fall down this glacier. But it whenever we posted about this, right, it's called Skyscraper Glacier, right? Or Skyscraper Glacier.
You're new with words today. I know, man.
But apparently, that's the name, right? We post about it using that name. And sure enough, in the comments, everyone's like, there are no more glaciers in Colorado. And this is something that I've researched a bit as well. Yeah. But it does beg some interesting questions there. So, and you just had a big piece.
I guess I was timely on that.
Yeah, you just had a big piece come out about glaciers. It is called, I had it pulled up. The Legacy and Loss of Colorado's Once Mighty Glaciers.
Yeah.
So you can find that on the Denver Gazette.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell us about that piece.
Yeah, I've kind of been wanting to dig into glaciers, probably for that very kind of reason that you mentioned. Like we know so many of these landmarks as glaciers. They are mapped / named as glaciers.
St. Mary's Glacier, one of the big ones.
St. Mary's Glacier, but you notice on the interstate, what do you see on the sign now? Just St. Mary's.
Oh.
Just says St. Mary's.
Interesting.
And maybe I'd forgotten about that, but some of these scientists I talked to were reminding me. Yeah, it just says St. Mary's. So try some attempts to clear the record there. As one, on the topic of St. Mary's, yeah, that a lot of people would know off I-70. Talk to an analyst at the National Snow and Ice Data Center based in Boulder there, who the way he kind of referred to it as, maybe at one point it might have been a glacier, but it's been a while. And it's probably been a very long while because, as it turns out, glaciers, as they once were thousands of years ago, moving ever so slightly and shaping the environment as we know it now, from cirques to some of these lakes to some of these U-shaped valleys and arêtes, as we call them, high in the mountains. Those glaciers have been melting for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, most likely. And so, getting to the ultimate question, are there glaciers left in Colorado? You get to a little technical point there, as I learned. Put it simply, like, as I understand it, to be definitively a glacier, you have to be you have to be big enough to move under your own weight. Kind of funny that I'm referring to glaciers as U's, I guess, but you know what I mean? If that makes sense, like there's got to be enough mass there to where there has to be some measurable movement. And glaciologists who really look into this think that maybe Arapahoe Glacier in the Indian Peaks Wilderness could meet that classification. There's some others who think Andrews Glacier, one of the named glaciers in Rocky Mountain National Park, could maybe still be called a glacier. But almost the vast majority, and maybe those two even, are mostly known technically as perennial snow fields or ice patches, So in such a position to where snow and or ice can last throughout the year for some reason or another. And Arapahoe and Andrews are examples where they are in a position to where they're catching westerlies, to where they're benefiting from avalanches. And so that's where a lot of focus has been on those two over the years. But in terms of, you look at the pictures, and I think we'll be able to show them here. Again, the National Snow and Ice Data Center has collected data on glaciers and glacial sites all around the world. And you look at some of these pictures, and it's pretty stark, just showing around same time, even from just 1960. I'm looking at photos, 1916 to 1940 to the 60s and 70s. Just watching these things fade in a changing climate, in a warming climate, as it's been for a very long time now, affecting these sites. It's pretty stark, to see them going away.
Yeah, the photos are pretty incredible. Yeah. Like it's very obvious in the sense of like how these glaciers changed.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you can look at like something like the Great Sand Dunes, and it looks the exact same as it did 100 years ago.
Yeah. People as probably people are aware. It's very well documented, like glacial melt off across the world. How much that's contributing to global sea rise. And comparatively in Colorado, glaciers, if any, are very, very small. Very, very small. Right, in the grand scheme of things. But nonetheless, like we mentioned, Arapahoe Glacier, there was a deep dive. Researchers at University of Colorado Boulder did a deep dive into Arapahoe Glacier, coming out with a report back in 2010, and they sort of estimated ballpark that Arapahoe could be entirely gone in 65 years. So in our lifetimes.
Dang.
Maybe.
If we're lucky.
Yep, if we're so lucky. We'd have to be very lucky.
Yeah, when I was
in our kids' lifetimes.
Yeah, definitely. And when I was covering this a few months ago, one of the reports I found is from Glaciers of the American West is the publication. They say that there are more than 135 permanent snowfields, essentially, or ice bodies around the state of Colorado, but only 7 of those are larger than 0.1 square kilometers.
Yeah, that puts
so
it in
very
perspective.
small, very small.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's the National Snow and Ice Data Center is starting to kind of really in more recent years is starting to track what this loss looks like around the world. And what is that? What they're calling their project, the Global Land Ice Measurements from Space, abbreviated into GLIMS, GLIMS. So there'll be data pouring into there as the years continue. But I kind of found it interesting, essentially trying to do the same thing, track what that loss looks like. There's researchers at Rice University who have another name for their young database, and it's called the Global Glacier Casualty List, simply put.
Yeah.
To give you an idea of just how aware and how interested kind of the world of science is and what this loss looks like and what it can mean, ultimately.
Yeah, definitely.
For the environment and other communities. So, yeah, glaciers, very interesting topic.
Also relevant to those, there are skiers in Colorado that tend to try to ski every month of the year. So if all of a sudden these snowfields are gone, that might not be as possible.
Yeah, people familiar with Arapahoe, for example, people who've known that landscape for years now, for decades now, can definitely tell you about how the kind of changes that they've seen up there, just for example. Yeah.
Seeing reports of like dirtier snow now too. That's something you always hear people reference. Yeah. St. Mary's is a pretty decent example of that, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And, these elevations are such that, as I heard it, there's parts of the West where there's a lot of concern, especially specifically the Pacific Northwest. Are those is snow there going to increasingly come down more as rain? A lot of scientists think in Colorado, we're graced with that high elevation that can kind of limit those effects over time. But yeah, again, glaciers are kind of a flashpoint into snow accumulation or lack thereof over the years to come as well.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see how that all pans out. Like many things that we talk about on the show. Buddy. We got one more topic here today. We kind of creatively worked all these things.
Just segueing
talking
around
about your road trip here. You got our Mesa Verde chat, which we had planned. You got the ranch and the burger chat that we had planned. So
we always talk about burgers on this show.
Man, I think the burger really should be one of like Colorado's state foods, in a way. Like especially the smash burger, right?
The slopper.
You got the slopper, the smash burger. You got the skirted heifer cheese skirt, right, on the burger. That's pretty creative.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're a land of the agricultural industry, right? So and ranching industry, it makes sense.
And historically bison. A lot of bison burgers.
Yeah, a lot of bison burgers. Love a good bison burger. But yeah, let's get into this last topic because I covered something similar but different a couple weeks ago. And a very similar thing might be happening in Woodland Park. So it deals with cities converting defunct, we'll say, or old golf courses into recreation space. There's a big push in Colorado to kind of slow the roll of the development of golf courses just because of the drain on water resources that tends to come with that. And basically in my coverage, I was looking at the Denver or the Park Hill Park. Right? Or the new Park Hill Park up in Denver. There was a Park Hill golf course that had been I think it operational since the 1930s until 2018. The city acquired that land in 2025 with the goal of converting that 155 acres of space into the Park Hill Park. So they're hoping to bring just another recreation area and I think the fourth largest, what would be the fourth largest city park in the Denver area to fruition there. So, but you were writing about something similar but different taking place in a mountain town outside of Colorado Springs. What do you got?
Yeah, for sure. So this is in similar but different, and much smaller in terms of town. Woodland Park, the city above the clouds, as we most definitely know in Colorado Springs.
Right in the foothills of the Pikes Peak,
so west of the Springs in Teller County there. And so there's been some talk, and we'll know more probably in the next few weeks how this all shakes out. But the golf course up there, the Shining Mountain Golf Course, has been for sale over the years. And finally, the city got interested in, hey, what might this look like if this was a city-owned property? We're talking about an 18-hole golf course on 355 acres of land that I'm told, as you nod your head, I bet you might be imagining, like, the golf course only takes up a part of that. I mean, that's huge. That's a big chunk of property that doesn't come up so much in a place like Woodland Park, as outdoor advocates are aware up there. The way they talk about it, in a town surrounded by national forest, very literally surrounded by Pike National Forest, there just isn't a whole lot of instantly accessible outdoor recreation destinations right in town.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone up there would complain about having the national forest right there. But to that point of just developed, maintained trails right in town that aren't up on a rough, rugged road and are maintained to certain degrees, shall we say. Enter this golf course that the city could have a deal put together for pending a city council decision here in a few weeks for these 355 acres. And what could management look like? Sounds like there's still interest in maintaining the golf course as a municipal golf course.
That's cool.
As we see anywhere and everywhere, city-ran enterprises or what have you that oversee the golf course. But then on the side of that, what's the possibility of trails, right? Hiking trails, biking trails. What's the possibility of a Nordic center? Nordic trails, right? Cross-country trails. I'd be curious, like, how the snow holds up there. At high elevation. Shaded.
I
gotta
will
be
say,
shaded.
Yeah, I will say in the city with one of the Up and Down events a year or so ago was a snowshoe hike, like right in the middle of I think it was like late January, early February. We went up there for the snowshoeing in Woodland Park. No snow, so it was
where at?
Where was it?
On a trail.
It was like a little bit north as you're headed up to Deckers in that area. There was no snow.
Around the vicinity of the golf course, I think.
Yeah, maybe a dry year.
Yeah.
But
you gotta have. Were you in the trees?
Yeah, we were in the trees. No snow.
That's interesting. So
that's always the question I have with like the Nordic centers and some of these lower elevation places where they don't necessarily hold snow throughout the winter.
Yeah,
it's got to be hard to plan for that in terms of like going into that season and thinking like, like how many weeks even are we going to be able to offer this to the public? Because there's a couple spots in the Colorado Springs area that offer that, and many years it comes down to a few days of actual like quality skiing. So interesting.
Just part of the discussion, which is still very, very early. Again, they still got to get through the real estate potential process of it. But definitely interest in and to put it in perspective, Woodland Park celebrated what they called like their largest land acquisition last year with what's now called Avenger Open Space, part of very much tucked into the National Forest. There kind of very much has a National Forest feel to it. So this feel would be very different right off 67 again, kind of that access. But again, they celebrated that big acquisition of 120 acres, and now we're talking like 355 acres.
Dang.
So one city councilor called it a really monumental moment for Woodland Park.
Yeah, I'm looking at the photos of this. It looks beautiful.
Big view of Pikes Peak.
Big view of Pikes Peak. Open spaces, forested areas around that. Yeah, love to see it. Hey, the more areas we can open up for outdoor recreation, the less crowded everything else will be. So.
And the accessibility. I guess I keep saying that, but that's where a lot of the interest is up there.
Well, and I see this as something that's like perfect. Like when you look at a golf course, right? A lot of Coloradans are seeking to go up to the mountains for their hikes, right?
Yeah.
That you want that up and down. But something like a golf course is perfect for like if you're training to run. Or you're like training for like cross country mountain biking and things like that, where you can just go out there, hit the trails, lower risk.
Yeah.
And like you said, that accessibility aspect where you're eliminating a lot of the hazards that come with some of the training whenever you're able to be on trails of this nature. So very cool.
For sure. Yeah, it seems like an interesting moment for the city of Woodland Park.
Well, there we go. And can't mention Woodland Park without mentioning the Donut Mill.
Oh, yes, of course.
Go eat your donuts at the Donut Mill.
Yep.
We are not sponsored by Donut Mill. I'm just a firm believer in their donuts. But I think that's about all we got today, I think.
Cool.
So until next week, I'm Spencer.
I'm Seth.
And we will see you out there.
Yep.